one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morning, everybody.
Morning, Commissioner Hall.
Bring my glasses on first.
You too. Let's all get our glasses.
Turn the phone on. All right. All commissioners are present. We have some employees receiving service recognition awards. We have Ian Smith at the jail for 5 years, Jeanette Smith at the jail for 15, Theodore Norton at the jail for 5 years. None of them are here today. We do thank them for their services. Item number 5.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of May 25th.
I second it.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, approve item 5 on the agenda, the minutes of the May 25th meeting. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Item 6.
Make a motion to approve item number 6 is listed on our agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, approve item 6 on the agenda to ratify and approve the cash disbursements and electronic payments. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye. Make a motion to approve item number 7 is listed on our agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, to approve item 7 on the agenda to ratify or approve the seminar request or payment for seminars. Questions or comments? Yes, Bruce.
Just as I'm looking at the price for the cost to the county for the Michelle Estabrook seminar for $837, and then last week, I think 2 weeks ago, there was one for $1,300 and plus.
Right.
These things, that's a lot of money.
Right.
All right out of the county coffers?
The county coffers. But it's training. The one at the last meeting was for the state wide conference that they have, and then this one is for another conference that's going on in Scranton.
If this is mandated? Or
The one 2 weeks ago was mandated. This one I'm not positive. I have to check on this one, but it's training that she needs for her office. She is a newly sworn in elected official.
I get it, it's just a lot of money. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye. Make a motion to approve item number 8 is listed on our agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, signed by Commissioner Arnold to accept with regret the resignation of Arleta Smith from juvenile probation, effective August 26, 2016, per the recommendation of John Lester and Supervisor President Judge Jason Lynch. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye. Make a motion to approve item number 9 is listed on our agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, to accept with regret the resignation of Damon Sandler at the jail, effective close of business June 12th, 2016, for the recommendation of Mark Schill. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried.
Make a motion to approve item number 10 is listed on our agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, to approve item 10 on the agenda, except with regret the resignation of Brianna Hollenbeck at the Sheriff's Office, effective close of business on June 17th, for the recommendation of Lance Maddock. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye. Make a motion to approve item number 11 is listed on our agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, to approve the transfer of Charles Bennett of Friendsville from part-time correction officer to open full-time corrections officer, for the recommendation of Warden Shelf. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to approve item number 12 is listed on our agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, to approve the hiring of Stephen Janowski of Montrose to the open non-union full-time position of Assistant Director of Information Technology, for the recommendation of Lisa Kowaleski, Director of IT. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye. Make a motion to approve item number 13 is listed on our agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, to appoint the following to the Susquehanna County Tourism Committee for a term of May 8, 2016 through May 7, 2017. Sandra Conklin and Connie Reinhardt. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
public comment? Anybody? Edna?
I have a question regarding New Milford Township. We have been told that there is a plan to put in an incinerator. Then we were told there was no such plan. Now we're being invited to a public meeting on the subject. And my question is, who has the definitive information as to what is actually going on? Has the township been notified of this? Is there anyone in the township who would be willing to speak out on the issue publicly at a commissioner's meeting to let everybody in the county know? I find it to be, I don't like straddling the fence, holding two thoughts. I don't like doublespeak. I don't like two thoughts inconsistent with each other being presented at the same time. And I think that it's the duty of at least the township, but certainly anybody in the commissioner's position, to let the people know. I mean, it's our right to understand what is going on, and it's our right to have a definitive explanation as to why there are two inconsistent stories being circulated. And that is my comment and a question.
Well, let me try to respond to your question. My last conversation with the township supervisors in New Milford Township is that nobody has come to them and presented anything to them, nor have they talked to them about doing anything in the township. So the township supervisors don't have anything. As far as at the county level, my last contact with the planning commission is they don't have anything as far as any plans or any subdivision requests or anything like that to do anything for that. There has been, and as far as this office, as far as I know, there's been no other contacts with people other than what was said at the last meeting, that 3-4 months ago somebody came in and said that they were looking to do something, but there's been nothing since then.
So there's no information coming from the people who are organizing this meeting, or who they are or what they are? Because at least we need to hear from them, certainly. And maybe they in concert with a meeting with the town supervisors would be very helpful.
Well, I don't know what information they have. You know, I haven't gotten any contact from any of them saying, you know, this is the information we have about what's going on. So the only thing I know of is that I saw that there was some type of meeting going on June 14th or something like that in New Milford. That's the only thing I know of.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Vera?
I'd like to say also announce that the Shaker property we found out is in contract for sale. It's about 100 acres, and it's near the Gibson exit. So that's the property that we understand Benny Diaz has listed, and some people have been showing around, possibly the Tyler Corners group. And this is the site for the possible incinerator. So the meeting that's going on next Tuesday, June 14th, in New Milford on Pratt Street at the United, we have flyers, and they're going to be going out in the newspaper at the United Methodist Church, 69 Pratt Street, at 7 o'clock Tuesday night. And there's going to be a visiting attorney discussing what can be done for citizens and townships to protect themselves, either having some kind of a town ordinance, and what can be done to either keep ourselves, safe from the toxins. All incinerators do emit toxins, and there's a whole group that's investigating that right now. So I was wondering too, from Mary Ann, since you live in New Milford Borough, I believe, how do you feel about a possible incinerator coming into New Milford Township, and what do you know about it?
I know absolutely nothing about it. I haven't been in any of the meetings. There was an initial meeting, I think, last May. Is that correct? With Mr. Shager and Benny Diaz. They had asked to meet, and we met with them, and they said that a possible industrial development was going to happen. And I haven't been part of anything, and I'm not going to give an opinion at this time because there's nothing here. There's nothing, I don't know of anything that's happening.
Well, let's say it did happen, there's an incinerator coming into that area, how would you feel about it? I mean,
I think I need much more information. I need to be educated on what it actually does, what's being brought into it, what is going to come out of that stack. Alan explained that it was going to be steam to be used for other. I don't know. I haven't been looking into it just because I'm involved in other things right now, and I know that's not an excuse, but there is nothing on the record that is going to happen yet.
well, are you interested in coming to the meeting Tuesday night, and any three of you? So you can learn about what incinerators do, the prototypes that are out there that are possibly
Okay, so
similar.
let me ask this, Vera. I mean, I realize you're putting together this group to have this big
I'm not
incinerator.
putting it together, it's other people are
Let's
putting
stop.
it together. I'm
Let
in
me
the
speak.
periphery.
So, you have no idea what this incinerator is, or what they're trying to do. You have no information as to what this incinerator is going to do, or how it's gonna function, or what the design is. And so, how can you have a meeting and talk about this issue when you have no idea what this issue is?
Well, that's why you can find out, you can find out.
Well,
what
you can't
information-
find out from who? From people that have no idea what the plans are, or what the incinerator is?
Because industrial incinerators have certain plans, and they're all
No,
over the
they don't.
country, and they
Listen.
are prototypes, and they're not just something unique.
But what you're doing is you're trying to take one situation and trying to pigeonhole it to say that all these things do this and that's what it is. There is no plans. And when you have a set of plans, I'm just as concerned as the next person. So, when we have a set of plans and somebody submits plans and we can find out what they're gonna do and actually gonna do.
Well, it's too late then, because we
Well,
want to,
no,
we
it's
want to
not
be
too late.
proactive. We want to get involved now and set up the ordinances and the protections for the citizens. So you can be part of that if you like, or at least listen into it. I've sent you
Well, no,
material.
I'm not gonna go to it because you guys don't have any information to share that's logical or definitive
Well, how
or
would you know?
factual.
You haven't heard the group.
What, I know your group doesn't have the designs for this incinerator. So you have no idea what it is.
Well, then you're not coming. So in case Mary Ann would like to come, you said you're not coming, Betsy, maybe she might be interested.
And then you have a
Coming.
question?
Yeah, my question is, you just said there's no plans or designs for this incinerator. Is there in fact a plan to put an incinerator in? I mean, that's my question. I really don't know anything about plans, so you can show them to me from now to tomorrow, it ain't gonna help me. But my question is are there plans? And if so, who would know? And if not, then why is all this information coming out? I mean,
The only information, and the answer to that is, there are no plans that the county has. There's been no plans submitted to the planning commission for subdivision for any type of incinerator or industrial park. As far as we know, that according to what the information Vera just brought forward, is apparently the Shager Group and the salesman for him, which was Benny Diaz, they have taken, got a potential sale or an option or whatever they have on the land, I don't know. But there is no designs or anything that we have here or anything else. So the only person that really knows anything, I guess, would be Mr. Shager or Mr. Diaz.
Okay, so then my next question is, if Shaker sells the property and Diaz wants to develop it, does Diaz have to present plans to anybody to develop the land, or is it because it's private property at that point that he can do what he wants? I mean,
No,
that's my
anything-
question.
Yeah, it would still have to go to the, any type of construction out there would have to go to the DEP, it would have to go to conservation, it'd have to go to the planning commission. It still has to go through all those processes.
There'd also have to be roads in there to allow all these.
Oh, yeah, and then you have to look at, whether if it's a state road, it's gotta go through PennDOT for an HOP, there's all kinds of things. And right now, I don't know of anything that's going on with any of that.
I would think at this point it's rather simple. If you're gonna be putting in a huge industrial incinerator or any kind of incinerator, I don't think you have to do that much research. It has to meet certain parameters, so whatever those parameters are, it's not gonna happen unless they meet those requirements.
Right.
So, I'm thinking of 100 acres of rural property
It's about 100.
that may or may not be a terminal leading, the terminal for the end product of refuse and/or industrial waste, et cetera, that's gonna be, in any way, shape, or form, not exactly a plus for the county. in my
Well,
opinion.
I think what the
It's not gonna
information I
generate-
have.
It's not gonna generate any money other than tax revenue. It's not gonna
Well,
generate
again-
any money for anybody here.
Well, again, that is presumption and conjecture, because the information, the only information we had is that I think they said the incinerator project itself was only like 4 acres or something like that the rest of the area was being used for industrial development for other businesses and as a corporate park.
With all due respect, this economy is flat dead. I don't think people are gonna be getting off 81 and going, or whatever road goes in there to go shopping. I really
Well,
don't.
no, not a retail. We're talking a corporate park, which is businesses.
What kind of businesses?
Well, I don't know. I know what they were talking about. They were trying to develop that land to make a corporate park.
Pie in the sky.
In my opinion, I would hope it would be manufacturing.
Again, the economy is flat on its back. And
Well,
until the election, and probably after the election, unless there's a huge turnaround, Sears is going out, Penny's is going out. I don't see anything.
Well, in retail, yes, but you also take a look at, there's a huge manufacturing facility going out by Volcraft out in, by Chemung, New York right now, which is making cans. And they're going in out there and it's creating a lot of jobs and a lot of opportunities. So there are other businesses and there are several businesses that are offshore that are trying to get back onshore now to do more manufacturing onshore and less offshore.
Where'd you hear that?
The study that was done to come out of Harrisburg.
So they're gonna reduce the corporate tax enough for folks to come back?
Well,
to
that's
the
one of
mainland?
the pushes that we've got right now, is trying to reduce that corporate tax in Pennsylvania. The way that certain parts of Pennsylvania gets around it is that, if you're down in York or Harrisburg area, they have huge tax incentives and they do huge tax credits to the corporations to get them into those areas.
That didn't work for New York.
Well, it's working for Pennsylvania because there are businesses going in down there. So, that's the most that I know. Like I said, whether there is one or isn't one, I have no idea. No one has, other than that conversation that happened months ago, there's been nothing since. So,
There's something, we just don't know what it is.
well, there could be or couldn't be. I mean, it's like, I know that we met with Shager. Shager would like to develop that property into a business park and bring businesses in and manufacturing jobs and opportunities for our local people to be able to get employed here and not have to move away and get a job someplace else.
What's going on behind the recycling plant? Is that for businesses or to keep all the machinery there or what? That whole area?
Well, that whole area is getting prepped for, hopefully, for business opportunities. It's a 50-acre spot out there that's been leveled off. That one of the people that own that property have leveled it off, and they're looking at options now what to do with it. So, I mean, the only thing we do is, and here's the bottom line. So someone comes to us and says, hey, we're thinking about maybe doing something. We announce it saying, hey, people, somebody's possibly going to do something. Well, we're not the bad guys because we gave you the message. We're just trying to get the information out.
No, I don't have a problem with an industrial park or with corporate businesses. I do have a problem with an incinerator, having lived in the projects for a long time in New York. I mean, I moved from the city and there's an incinerator going up here, along with the drugs and everything else. It's not good.
Not good.
Well, what we know so far is a private venture firm called the Tyler Corners Group, led by Assured Waste Solutions and Sterling Advisors. They are wanting to build the industrial hazardous waste incinerator in New Milford Township. And I'm not quite sure how it's all gonna fall together, But the other partner is known as Tunnel Hills Partners. And if you go onto their website, you will see a variety of products that they incinerate, including contaminated soil, drill cuttings, and other special hazardous waste, whatever that might be. And what comes out of those incinerators is more than steam. The EPA listed a finding of violation in that the other similar incineration in East Liverpool, Ohio, a poor community, that they had this incinerator, and the notice of violations, several pages long. And suffice it to say that that area is riddled with cancer clusters, among other things. So one of the things we would want to look into is public health and public safety and the risks that are associated with such a facility. The particulate matter that would be in the air, the bursts, preterm bursts are associated with air quality, poor air quality. So could be some dangerous things to come if in fact this does come to fruition.
You know, one thought came to mind when the comment was being made. If you have one chicken, you have to submit a manure management plan so that the chicken refuse, the chicken scat, whatever you'd like to call it, doesn't somehow float down the Susquehanna into the Chesapeake. I don't think we want an industrial incinerator here.
Again, at this point, you people probably have more knowledge about it than we do. So,
You know what?
there's nobody coming to our door saying this is what we're doing.
Well, as long as we have plenty of time, whether from Man La Mancha, Don Quixote, whether the rock hits the pitcher or the pitcher hits the rock, it's bad for the pitcher.
Well, again, as Mary Ann said, and I believe too, when we see something that will raise a concern, then we'll address it. But right now, we don't see anything. Any other comments?
Betsy, can you talk about what's going on with the tick situation and the meeting that's coming up and inform us about it?
Next Wednesday night, I put the flyers out at the Hartford Fire Hall, June 15th, 6 to 8. We have a woman coming that studies ticks. She's from the East Stroudsburg University, and she's going to do a presentation, and then we'll have our veterinarian that's on our task force and our state health nurse there to open or answer questions as well. And it's free to the public, and we hope that everyone will come out and get educated.
And it's from what, 6 to 8?
6 to 8. Mm-hmm.
June 15th, Hartford Fire Hall,
Mm-hmm.
Hartford, Pennsylvania. And Miss Nicole Chinitzi, however you
Mm-hmm.
pronounce that, Chinitzi, will be discussing 3 most common ticks. So it looks like we have 3 of them, besides just one.
Well, there's lots more than 3, but there's the
And
3.
they all carry possibly the Lyme disease, all 3?
Apparently, it might not be Lyme, there's other diseases that they carry as well. So she's going to talk about all that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any
And
other questions?
also, I'd like to announce that there was a good letter to the editor in the Independent this week by Andy Chichura, and he was the former superintendent, retired from Mountain View Schools, and he was discussing the alarming rate of tax increase for the school district of 3.9%, which is above the Pennsylvania state index maximum for school taxes, and that despite all the gas drilling in our wonderful county, it didn't save Mountain View. They have to raise the taxes more than ever on the school district, and he was asking them to please conserve. They've gone through their whole savings of $6 million just about,
Mhm.
and the royalties are crashing, so they're not
Mhm.
getting any help from the royalties.
Mhm.
So he's asking folks to come to the meeting, next Mountain View School District meeting, and see what can be done to conserve their budget expenditures so that they can't keep spending more and more and the income that's coming in is less and less. So it's a very long letter to the editor.
Mhm.
I thought it was excellent, and other districts are also raising their school taxes despite 8 years of gas drilling in our county, so we haven't been saved by the gas industry.
Okay, well, the problems of school districts has nothing to do with the gas industry, so let's clarify that first. And when you talk to Dr. Chinchilla, ask him what his pension is and how much money he's receiving a year that we're paying for, and how many years he's gonna collect that for. And at the same time, the other issue that combines with that is the money that's being taken out of the brick and mortar schools and sent to the cyber charter schools, and that revenue stream is being gone. On top of that, compile that with the increase or the inability of the state legislators to deal with the pension crisis in Pennsylvania, because now it's $64 billion, the pension crisis in Pennsylvania. Now, when you take a look at that, you'd say, okay, well, they need a plan. So their plan right now in the next budget is the ARC, and the ARC basically is just to put enough in to keep the thing funded and try and make it grow a little bit. The ARC is calling for $2.5 billion to be put into it, but yet the budget's only putting in 1.6. So your budget already and your plan is to continue to have the pension fund get in a bigger problem. So what they've done is, and the pension fund works in a three-pronged situation. It works with the employees putting so much money in, the school district putting so much money in, which is the taxpayers, and then the state putting so much money in, which is the taxpayers. So it used to be back in year 1990, I think it was 1990, 1991, both pension funds were 135% funded. There wasn't any problem. But the wonderful legislators decided they needed an increase in their pension fund. So they increased the payout. So instead of getting 70% of their highest last 3 years for a pension payout, they now get 87.5%. Now, you'd think 87.5% is a pretty decent number. Of course, they get it the rest of their lives. And if you tie that in with their Social Security, when they come collect Social Security, they're now eligible to get between 115 to 125% of what they were making when they were working as being retired, which is not a bad gig. On top of that, you go to a year later, and they decided, well, that wasn't good enough. We need to do something more. Let's have a COLA increase. So they did a COLA increase that they had no money budgeted for. So then, to make it even worse, they decided that's not good enough. Let's do one more thing. Let's go to the third year, and we'll take and stop putting money into the pension fund, because we want to take the state share and be able to use that for other projects and do other things. So we won't fund the pension for 2 or 3 years and put no money into it. And they did that. Well, then as all this catches up, because it takes a few years for things to catch up, it catches up, and now the pension fund starts going the wrong way. Well, there's nobody down there that wants to say, hey, let's vote on cutting my pension, or let's vote on doing something to my pension. So it keeps getting worse, keeps getting worse, keeps getting worse. So the school districts used to put in like 4% of what the payroll was into the pension fund. Well, now they're putting like 28 to 32% of what the payroll is into the pension fund that the taxpayers have to pay locally. So that big increase in debt that the school district has each year has an effect on their revenue streams coming into their school districts. So the only thing they can do is that increased expense they have to raise taxes to take and pay for that increased expense. School districts only get revenue from 3 places: federal, state, and local. Federal share is like nothing, 1%, 2% at most. Balance comes from the state and comes from the local. When the state says we're going to increase your expenses but not give you any more money, well, there's only one place left to get it, and that's locally. Of course, if you also take a look, you look at the salary increases they just did in the last contract at Mountain View too. That was a big issue. So it's great to sit back and as a superintendent or as teachers whine and say, listen, you know, this isn't fair. We need more money. We want more money, but it has an effect on the local people because all of us are paying for that. Our school taxes are totally out of control and always have been out of control. And there is no light at the end of the tunnel with the legislature on how to fix it. So.
Yeah, go ahead.
As part of his cost cutting, would he take a reduction in his pension?
Well, that'd be the first thing I'd ask him. Take a cut in your pension to help reduce the cost?
By about half would be
Yeah.
good.
So you've got an individual, and just so you know, I know Dr. Chinchilla very well because he was a teacher first, and then he became a superintendent. He was a superintendent at Blue Ridge for a while. He was a principal at Blue Ridge for a while. And then he went to Mountain View. He's probably retired 3 times and went back in again as a superintendent. All this giving nice kicks to the pension fund and doing wonderful things.
So then your suggestion is to possibly have a cut across the board of all the pensions and salaries of the teachers?
Well, the
And
first
so
thing you
to make
can
up the
do.
difference between 4% and 28% that was funded by the state?
Well, the first thing you gotta do is understand that there's a constitution in the state of Pennsylvania which forbids you from going in and cutting anybody's pension that's already collected.
That's already collected. But
Right,
the ones
so,
who
so
haven't
here's,
collected-
so here's the steps that you could take in place. You know, the first step you could do is to take and go down to the state and say, okay, it's time for your people to be responsible, start funding at least the ARC that needs to go into the pension fund. Take the money away from all your pet projects you have and put it into the pension fund and get your pension fund solvent again like it should be. Second thing you do is you stop this little game that they play. You know, it's played by all different organizations at the state where their pension's based on the highest salary of their last 3 years. So what most of them do in their last 3 years, if they're allowed to work overtime, is they'll go out and work a tremendous amount of overtime to get this huge increase in their salary, so that gives them a huge bump in their benefits. Well, your pension should be based on your base salary. It shouldn't be based on all the per diems and all the extras you can get on top of it. So if you do that, that'll have a huge reduction in future costs and have a savings there.
And what's the starting salary, do you know, for a teacher going in?
Well, it depends on where they are. I mean, some of them are 38,000, and if you get down toward, you know, Bucks County, Philadelphia,
I'm talking
it's
about our,
70,
I'm talking
80.
about our county, you know, where we live, what's the starting
Yeah.
salary, the average?
Depending, I think the lowest school in the area is like 40,000 now.
For starting for a teacher?
Yeah.
And that's just with, they have to have a master's to get that, or just a,
Undergrad.
Just
just an undergrad
Undergrad,
BS,
that's
or
it.
BA,
Yep. And their certifications.
and their certifications?
So, yeah, I understand Dr. Chinchur. He's made all his money off the taxpayers. Now he's concerned he's got to pay it in taxes.
You know, if a country did what you were saying, pretty soon they'd be 20 trillion in debt with 300 trillion in unfunded liabilities. But you can just print money, so we don't have to worry.
Well, exactly.
I know, so why don't we do that? We can do that as a county, print money since our federal government does it.
I think that's called forgery.
I know, for us it's forgery, but
It
for
works,
them.
it works for the feds.
But the feds, it's legal.
For now.
Anything else? Yes.
I also wanted to mention, you know, from, you know, the Northern Tier Regional Planning Development Commission and the State of the Region report, there's a whole report,
Mhm.
the demographic data. And I did call Rachel Hauser, and the Susquehanna County data shows for the labor analysis, we have the top 10, let's see, maybe 10 or 12 industries in our county. And gas drilling is under mining, according to Rachel, hunting, fishing, forestry, and agriculture is lumped into one category. And that accounts for only 7.2% of the total of the labor force activity in our county, out of 100%. And the greatest number is held 20.9%.
Hospitals and schools.
Education, health, and social services. They're the biggest employer. So I just want to state that with all the information and that we get from the gas industry and others who support it, the gas industry is less than 7.2% involved in our county. And meanwhile, they promote themselves like they're the biggest thing here in the county, some kind of a big employer, big moneymaker. And this is as of 2014, before the crash of gas prices. So now they're even less than that. And they're part of 7.2%, which they haven't broken that down. So I'm going to ask, I've been asking them, I left a message for Ethan Sexton, who are compiling this data, can they break it down even further? And not just lump them in together with agriculture, forestry, and fishing, and hunting. So I think that's an interesting point to know, that this is a very low influence for this industry. So why do we promote it so much? In the top 50 industries that are listed, 50 businesses in our county, 50 employers, they're saying, Cabot Oil and Gas is number 14 out of the 50, and that's the only gas company, drilling company mentioned in all of the 50.
Mhm.
So we have all these other companies that are providing jobs, and we need to promote something other than gas in our county and see if we can promote a lot of more, bring into the county some alternative energies and promote that, and industry that doesn't pollute, either food production, maybe a chocolate factory, anything else that doesn't pollute, especially
Well,
not
the
in.
chocolate factory that's in Mexico, so.
Well,
Yeah, there's one in the basement of my building.
There's one near Stacy.
Well, the
So-
thing that you should be picking up from that report, the alarming part about that report is it echoes the problems that we have in Susquehanna County, which is the lack of sustainable jobs for kids that are graduating from high school. You know, in 2 weeks, there'll be over 600 kids graduating from high school in our areas, from our school districts, with no opportunities except to either go on public assistance or to take and go in the Army or the military or to move away. And, you know, that the only jobs that we have here that are the top ones are the ones that the taxpayers are paying for, which is your public education and the social services.
And
So,
healthcare.
well, healthcare is there, but healthcare is a small portion of it.
Let me ask you a question. Let's project into the future, and you have this industrial park behind the recycling, and maybe an industrial park over by, in New Milford. Can the commissioners and/or people you know exert some kind of influence to try to hire qualified graduates from Susquehanna County to work in there?
Well, we would always.
Not strong arm, but
Yeah, we would always promote to try and hire local people for the jobs in our
Residual
areas.
training.
Absolutely. You know, and the idea is that, you know, trying to get businesses here that are, you know, good for the community and good for, you know, our social environment here. Trying to get businesses here that people can take and, you know, make an affordable wage and support a family and be able to live here and not have an issue.
And that's actually where the Career and Technology Center does actually an amazing job
Right.
responding to the job market, the opportunities and what is growing. Like
Right.
they're constantly revamping and revitalizing their programs to answer demands in
We are
the
trying
industry.
to see what we can do to try and promote trying to get businesses here that, you know, use tool and die work, because we have a lot of people in this area that are tool and die makers. There's a lot of them that, a
Crowley,
lot of
our
people.
dog are hiring.
Yeah, a
but
lot of
they're
them
in New
have,
York.
you know, lathes and milling machines in their garages and basements, and, you know, there's all kinds of opportunities there, so.
And Golis is hiring also.
And Golis is hiring also, so trying to promote those types of things and, you know, those types of jobs.
We have New York companies coming down to Treehab-sponsored job fairs because it is such a close commute.
It is, it's a
Right.
close commute, within a half hour for half of the county at least. And also on this list of labor analysis, it says manufacturing is 14.4% of the labor force. So manufacturing is stronger than even agriculture, mining, or forestry. So it's in the top part of this whole analysis. And what is our unemployment rate at this point? Does anybody know?
Well, you can use whatever number you want. The unemployment rate is never a reasonable or an accurate number anyway.
Right.
The unemployment rate's only the number of people that are actually receiving benefits at this time. It doesn't include the number of people that have run out of benefits that still can't find work, and it doesn't include the number of people, or exclude the number of people that are collecting that don't want to work. So.
But it hasn't increased in any kind of appreciable manner, has it, in the past 3 years, let's say? 5 years?
I couldn't tell you for sure. They could tell you at Northern Tier. Anything else? Yes.
Do you have any comment on the bridge that's being closed down in Lennox?
Oh, sure.
Well, just give me a comment. I just want to know what
Well,
you think.
you know, it's unfortunate. You know, here's the problem. There's, I think we're at 5,200 structurally deficient bridges in the state of Pennsylvania right now. And we have quite a few in this county. And, you know, that's one there that is structurally deficient and needs to get replaced. So we can either wait for the car to drive across it and have it fall in and then try to replace it, or replace it now. Now, I realize the biggest issue here is the actual closing of the road and taking the bridge out and replacing it, and having a detour that is a little lengthy and is going to cause a lot of hardships. Question is can they put a runaround, you know, a temporary bridge in? Could they take and do phases of the bridge? You know, phasing a bridge would be doing one lane at a time, then doing the other lane. You know, their comment is from PennDOT is they can't phase the bridge, that they have to take the whole bridge out and replace it. The latest thing I heard yesterday is that apparently they've decided to take that bridge and make it a 24/7 operation now to replace it as quick as they can. Of course, that'll be a cost to somebody as to other bridges not getting done or other things not getting done. So when we do that to that bridge, then what do we do for the bridge that's in somebody else's neighborhood?
I was gonna say, where are we gonna suffer in this county when
Well,
they
sure.
do that? Because that's
It
where
is-
they'll take it away, is up here somewhere.
Right.
It's going down from 15 weeks to 10 weeks of closure. The runaround, by the time they were able to, it would be quicker to close it for 10 weeks than to
Build their own.
try to get all of the easements and redo the plans for a runaround
Right,
needed.
right.
Maybe they should have thought of that to start with.
Well, you know, here's the thing, this is, and unfortunately, you know, this bridge is supposed to be under construction now. But it was because nobody wanted to pay any attention to it as to it got to this level. You know, a year ago, they had a meeting on this bridge as to, we're gonna take this bridge out and we're gonna replace it. It's on the agenda to do it, and nobody showed up to the meeting. So, and except for me, I show up to all the ones that I get from PennDOT saying that we're gonna have bridge closures or bridge work, I go to because I'm on a transportation committee, I like to know what's going on. So I went to another one that was held this year down in Clifford Township for the bridge on 374 down by Kilmer's property that's getting taken out. And as they were discussing taking that one out, and of course none of the Lennox Township people were there. It was you know, emergency services, but no township supervisors showed up to the meeting, even for that one. And so as we sat there, I said, are you gonna make sure you get the one up on 106 put back in before you close the one on 374? Because if you don't, then the detour is gonna be going down into Nicholson and going to Clark Summit to get back on 81, because your detour now is going down 92 and up 374. And the construction company said, well, I can't remember, that bridge, I said, that bridge scheduled to be done this year. So they got on their computer and did some checking. Oh, you're absolutely right, that bridge comes out this year. And well, then there was, you know, a bunch of EMS people there, and they started saying, well, how are we gonna get around? How are we gonna get emergency services and do all this other stuff? Well, that's when it started to escalate. People started to find out that, oh gee, the bridge is closed. Well, you got notice of it a year ago, and nobody paid any attention. So now it's turned into this big, you know, ordeal of, you know, the state representative and the township supervisors, business owners of, oh, you know, this has got to be changed. We can't do it this way. Now we've got to take and do something different. Now, if we can do something different there, then why can't we do something different every place? Because the one down here on 706 going out of Montrose, the plan on that one is to close that one, and your detour is going to go down into Fairdale and over to 29 and up.
And PennDOT can only detour onto PennDOT roads. You know, people can still travel local roads.
Right.
Yeah,
You
they
know,
can
the
find their own
township
way
and stuff.
around.
They
It's
can
a
find their own
requirement.
way around, yes.
Locals
Yeah.
know their way around.
Right.
That don't
But
require,
PennDOT's official detour will be.
has to be a state road.
Has to be a
Yeah,
state
the
road.
29 detour is epic.
Right. So, you know, but if we can do that bridge in 10 weeks, why can't we do them all in 10 weeks?
That's a good point.
So why can't we? What's the problem?
You'd have to ask PennDOT.
Is there not
There is a
enough-
cost
there- aren't they gonna
associated
say there's
with
not
running
enough
it
money and not
24/7.
enough
Well, that's what they
personnel?
say, you know, the issue is, you know, there's gonna be a huge cost increase to get this bridge done. If you're gonna work 24/7, you know,
Overtime.
you're gonna be paying contractors overtime, you're gonna be paying extra money, you're not gonna get it for the same price. So, when this gets done, there'll be a huge fee, just like if you, the cheapest
This
way
is
to
a P3
replace, the
bridge,
cheapest
too.
way to replace a bridge is to close the road, take it out, and put a new bridge in. When you build a temporary bridge around, there's a huge cost there. If you phase it and do one lane at a time, there's a huge cost there. And plus, it extends the amount of time it takes to get the bridge
So it
done.
seems logical, even phasing in the overtime, et cetera, it'd still be cheaper, or cost comparable.
No, this bridge cannot be, I was talking with PennDOT the other day, and this bridge cannot be done in phases because it is a laid rock bridge. Therefore, you can't just take out half of it because then the other half will crumble because it's rock.
Right, right.
So,
Have you heard a budget price for this bridge for Lennox or Clifford? What kind of a budget price have you heard of this
Well, I
one?
gotta imagine at least over $1 million.
At least $1 million?
Sounds cheap.
most bridges are at least $1 million.
Most,
Isn't
most
that-
20-foot or 30-foot bridges are $1 million to start, so.
Well, that sounds cheap compared to a road. I mean, a road is like about $1 million a mile, isn't it? That's some of the prices I've heard
Yeah,
for 1 mile.
right.
So you're talking about a bridge.
And I hope this doesn't affect all the construction work that's supposed to get done this year. There's a lot of
We
paving
met.
that's
There's a lot
supposed to get
going.
done. There's
PennDOT's
supposed to be a
doing-
lot of bridges done, you know, Thompson right now has a bridge.
I was checking to see, because I have the list.
Yeah. Thompson has a
But-
bridge right now that's under construction over there. It's a wood deck bridge the state's doing.
7 slide repairs going on this summer.
Yep,
171, 492 from, or 11 from 492, 2.8 miles south. So that'll take care of the worst of the new building.
11 there, 171 at the Great Bend exit. You've got 92.
Several sections of 92.
92 from where they left off last year up to 492 is getting done. 171 from where they left off north of Thompson to Lanesboro is getting done.
And there is a numerous bridges, and then over 83 miles of surface treatment that the
Mhm.
department is doing that's not
Right.
contracted out.
Right.
Too bad there's
So-
no bridges close to the Mormon church. They seem to be able to get things done quickly and they have
Well, actually,
unlimited
there
funds.
is. There's one next year scheduled to be done next year.
Near the church?
Yeah, on the
Is it-
road to it.
Can they be behind it somehow funded and organize everything? They seem to be quick on the ball.
I don't know. So,
They have money left over from snow removal, so
That's
they should be
right.
good.
To get here today, coming down 29, I took Quarry Road
mhm.
at Franklin Forks, come out and take Bailey Road in Franklin Township, and up to Booth Road. Get to Booth Road, and there's 3 yellow trucks sitting there by the bridge, just before you get to 29, including a county bridge crew truck. One was PennDOT, and I didn't see the third. They're not planning on closing that bridge now, are they? Okay, because that's all we need.
Let's just take Shenango Street and then Silver Creek Road and get back to 25.
Oh, I think you
because that's
go all the
pretty
way
quick.
into New York State and come back.
You can't get there from here.
Anything else?
I was gonna ask Mary Ann about, do you have anything to tell us about conservation or any other projects that you're involved in the past month? Anything to report to the public? How are these organizations?
The Conservation District
performing?
letter went out yesterday to get nominations or names from the nominating organizations that are part of the Conservation District. We're looking for 2 public members. We're also looking for people for the Ag Preservation Board. If you know of anyone that might be interested, please contact me. We need township supervisor or borough council person. We need contractors. There's specifications as to what types of people, at-large people and farmers.
What are your concerns at this point for the county in these organizations? Do they have any concerns or projects that they're focused on that you can tell us about? Conservation and ag? Agriculture.
Nothing that I know of at the moment. They work closely with NRCS, although a comment.
NRCS is what?
NRCS is the Natural Resource Conservation Service, out of the USDA. It was brought to my attention and some other people that comment was made that USDA and NRCS and the Conservation District were not working together. So I'm still waiting on that to see, because all of the Growing Greener grants and things like that go through the Conservation District and NRCS.
Are there any concerns about, egg or nitrate pollution and the controls on that? I mean,
Well, there's always concerns, but people have to report them. There has to be, there has to be reports. And what I'm told is before anything can be done, it has to go through the Farm Bureau liaison and then to DEP. The Conservation District cannot intervene without the liaison from the Farm Bureau contacting them first, which was the first time I've ever heard that in the 12 years I've been on the Conservation District.
And how is the sedimentation in our waterways and lakes and streams and creeks? Any concerns about that since all of the pipeline construction and tree cutting and?
I think it's much better here. I mean, they're concerned about the Chesapeake Bay, but up here, I think we're fine. I think once it gets to the south is where the concerns are. I don't think that we're in trouble up here, even though they say that we're contributors too.
Okay.
So I have motion to.
On the Conservation District, I had heard it was a farmer position and a public position. You said they're both public?
It's two public positions.
Okay.
It means it could be just public citizens? What does public mean?
Yes. You
Yeah.
can't be a farmer.
You can't be a farmer?
Okay.
No,
You can be a farmer?
you can be a farmer, I believe, to serve the public position. But the farmer position can only be a farmer, as far as I know.
There's regulations on it that
Yeah.
make it, so
Yeah.
it's best that you're not. Your income has to come.
Yeah, because you want to balance.
Because of where your income comes from. If you were a teacher and you're collecting a large pension, and you have more money coming from that pension than the 24 beef cows that you have on your farm, then you were considered public, is what my understanding
I
is.
can think of somebody that fits that description.
Motion to adjourn.
I second that.
All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned.
Mr. Price.